talk about Mickey Marley on the Grosvenor Road, somebody's got a big, massive story to tell you about him.
Mickey Marley was a Belfast legend, toured the streets of Belfast for over 50 years, the roundabout, entertaining the kids. Went up and down the Falls Road, the Shankill Road, all over.
He had no political aspirations or anything else. He just was happy to get a few pence or whatever it was from any children who wanted to get on the roundabout.
For people who didn't know him, they did miss out on a big character because he was part of Belfast, he was Belfast, you know, everybody knew him. When he became that well known that he had a song wrote for him.
Unknowingly to himself, I think he didn't realise that he was a link actually between Catholics and Protestants in his own way, because they took him, they didn't care what he was, because the children just wanted to get on that roundabout.
Growing up during the Troubles, especially in Lower Falls, it was absolutely madness. You're talking about bombs, you're talking about people being killed on irregular basis, you're talking about, you know, like rioting. That's why Divis was, when we lived in the Lower Falls, it was just normal to see shooting, to hear bombs, to see Land Rovers buzzing down the Falls Road and knocking people off their feet, and constant funerals.
The Troubles were really, really bad in Belfast at the time. You know, it was a gamble to go out and about, where all the shooting and everything else going on.
In those early days, like, it probably was dangerous enough to walk about the streets, and because, you know, there was conflict, there was a lot of hatred on both sides.
I started working with Mickey about 1984, and I happened to walk down into Corn Market, and I was just mesmerised with the horse and the roundabout. And I just hung around there for a while, and Mickey said, "Go and get us a cup of tea, son." And I went and got him a cup of tea, and then we just headed off, and he said to me, "Do you want a lift home?" So I got a lift home, and got to know where he lived in the Grosvenor Road, and he had the horse out in the backyard and stuff like that. And we headed off, really, you know what I mean? And every Saturday we used to go down in the Corn Market and stuff like that, and then after school, we used to ride CBS in the Glen Road. He'd have picked me up at 3 in the afternoon, and we used to tour all the streets around there too. But we went all over. We went to Shankill, Falls Road. We'd done a lot of events, you know, Muckleymore Abbey, the Welders Club on Newton Yards Road. Mickey went everywhere.
Paul was first to work with him, and me and Paul were best friends. You know, we went everywhere together, the two of us were never out of trouble, you know, the two of us were up to mischief, and he kind of had the wee job with Mickey on a Saturday. So it kind of went from there, and Mickey made it clear that you don't steal from me, you do what you're told, you know, you have like responsibilities like cleaning out the roundabout at the end of the day on a Saturday, giving a clean over, washing the horses and all the wee carts on it. You know, after school, I mean, I would bounce around to check on the horse and, you know, muck him out, because he needed muck out every day. You know, so I mean, that was kind of our lives. You know, working on a Saturday all day. I think, if I can remember rightly, I think me and Paul maybe got a tenner on a Saturday.
Well, I used to go to Mickey's at about 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. Mickey'd have been up and all. The horse Joey used to kick the stable wall at 6 in the morning to get Mickey up, to get him his breakfast. And then Mickey would have groomed the horse down and everything else and harnessed it up. And then he used to keep the roundabout at the time up in the Peter Pan complex on the Springfield Road. And we'd have gone up there, harnessed the horse up, galloped it down the Grosvenor Road, and then we trotted into town with the horse, round the Corn Market, and that was our setup for the day. And the kids used to flock there all day long with the music going. It used to attract everybody to come round, and the photographs and everything else used to get taken from tourists and everything else. You know, it was really good. But he was a character, proper old character, and he had to spun this round the roundabouts, and he used to shout, "Right now, Bangor and Donegal," you know, for the kids and that type of thing. You know, he was a real Belfast character, Mickey.
It was a great thing for the children in those days, and it was a great way of being close to having a bit of fun with the carousel and taking their minds off other things, because in those days, apart from skipping and playing Marleys and bunking Marleys, there wasn't much else to do at times, you know. But to see the roundabout coming in was a big, you know, it was a powerful sort of thing to happen, you know, for them.
Come on around. Right.
Mickey's mindset was bringing a wee bit of fun to the wee ones, because I mean, when they seen the roundabout coming, like, I mean, you get the wee faces, the excitement, them jumping up and down in the queue, you know, screaming, and you know, my turn, and once the cart stopped, you know, it was like all wee ants climbing up an anthill. You know, it was like two wee seats. So there was only 2 kids in front and 2 seats in the back. So it only could be 4 in each wee cube.
The horses probably tortured as much, because a lot of the children had never probably seen a horse in those days, like, you know, never mind coming into the street. And so that was all part of the fun, the excitement.
People thought it was strange that us two were working for this wee man who had an attitude, you know, like it was uncomfortable or something, but to us it was just like he was just Mickey, and with Barney with him, we would cuss at him and he would cuss at us too, and you know, but he wouldn't harm the fly. He's just very vocal, the two of us, because we were always messed about.
Mickey was a bit like a dad to me, a bit like a father to me. Mickey, you know, he looked after me, you know, even the other side of Belfast, say the Shankill or something like that, there, he was dead protective that way, you know what I mean? And he always watched out for me, you know what I mean? And fondest memories was finishing in town, maybe on a Friday or something like that, going to Fusco's Chippy in the Grab on the Road, get me a fish supper, going over to his, getting the horse put away and everything else. Big roaring fire, the open fire on the Grab on the Road, and you know, he was a homely old boy. The troubles were really, really bad then. You know, there was shootings and bombings going off everywhere, but it didn't affect Mickey at all. Didn't. He just went wherever. Mickey was quite aware of, you know, where he was going, and you know, the Shankill and the Falls, and you know, East Belfast. It didn't really bother Mickey, you know what I mean? All he was out to do was to entertain the kids. We just drifted through Belfast, like we going past Ratton, and just the horse would just go up on the curb and pull the cart along. We had the sense of we could go anywhere. You know, we never feared, like, going across the Shankill. We went across the Shankill. You know, going across to East Belfast, we went across to East Belfast. You
know, he was welcomed up the Shankill Road, welcomed in the Falls, anywhere at all that he wanted to go. He was given permission, if you want, to travel there in safety, you know, so fair play to him. Like, he was that sort of man, like, you know.
We got to visit so many places in Belfast. We got to go to, like, school fetes, Christmas parties, places that we would never had access to if it hadn't been for Mickey and the roundabout and horse. People really wanted him to be at a certain place.
Me coming from the Falls Road myself, you know what I mean, I was quite, you know, we had gone up the Shankill Road or Newton Arch Road or somewhere like that there, you know, but it didn't really bother Mickey that much, and he said, yeah, you'll be all right, son, and all stuff like that, you know what I mean. And he used to watch the news and all before he'd gone out to see if anything was happening and stuff like that, and he said, we'll take a chance and we'll come out. And he took chances and he went out, and he just went out and done it, up the Shankill or wherever he went, around all them streets. Every street he went around, he knew all the streets like the back of his hand, you know, where to go, and, you know, the kids came out after school or something like that, you know, it didn't bother Mickey where he went.
But there would have been a few times that Mickey would have said, look, there's too much going on, kids, we're not going to venture over there, or we're not going to travel over there like the east, because it is a wee bit dicey, so we'll call the day off and we'll just go back in the city centre. And we just went back in the city centre and continued as we did. But I never felt for 1 minute that Mickey would put me and Paul at risk. You know, he cared about us, that he did care about us, and he would never bring us in a situation where we were possibly blown up or possibly shot or hurt or anything. He took responsibility for us and we took responsibility for him. The way he thought about it was bringing a wee bit of fun to every part of Belfast that he went. And he would go around Belfast, and one day he would go around and he'd stop at different estates and the kids would all have a wee go and, you know, have a good laugh. He definitely had the kids in his head. He definitely had, you know, this here notion that he needed the kids. He needed the, you know, the money. He needed the, you know, the fun. He needed that there kind of element in his life where he was doing something for somebody else, you know. So it was distraction for him. It was a distraction.
That was his escape. You know, his wife died several years before that, and you know that was Mickey's escape. You know, getting away, keeping it off his mind and stuff, and getting out. You know, because he was a hard-working man, Mickey Marley. You know, that's his life was the roundabout and the horse, and his 2 dogs, Rex and Spot, the 2 Jack Russells. That was his life. You know, and he loved the kids, Mickey. So that's sort of why he kept his mind of a lot of things too. You know.
Because of the Troubles, there was barricades going up all around Belfast, different roads and streets to try and, in those days, to protect the people, because they didn't really know at times who was attacking them. So it was like, let's build a barricade for protection. And unfortunately, Mickey's roundabout became a good form of barricade, and it was burnt down and became part of a barricade, sadly.
Obviously he was in bits, and I was like his livelihood. I was his, you know, his life, and it did set him back, and it did upset him, and it did send him into a wee rut.
He just probably went downhill for a while after that, you know, and he probably thought, I'll never be on the road again with the roundabout. So.
Mickey was out of work for quite a long while, and I think a lot of people rallied around, and you know, there was different things going around and saying, look, we need to get Mickey Marley sorted out here.
People from all sides, Catholic, Protestant, all took a hand in building this new roundabout, and wasn't obviously as good as the old one. I think the old one was more the Italian, the real horses.
He was so made up after that, you know, so that got him back on the road again. And then, of course, along came the song, Mickey Marley's Roundabout.
The song was in our heads for a good while, because we thought we could do something with this song, you know, we could make it into a real catchy wee number.
Mickey Marley had a wee horse. He kept it at the back of the house, of course. It wouldn't eat grass and it wouldn't eat hay, but it would eat sugar lumps all the day. And Mickey got wood and wheels for a start. Then he sat down and made a wee cart. He hammered and he hammered and he footered about until he had built the roundabout. Round and up and down through the streets of Belfast town. All the children laugh and shout, here comes Mickey's roundabout. Then he went from street to street, a penny a time and pick your seat. A hobby horse or a motor car, jump on some and howl the bar. The children's faces shine with glee, laughs and smiles a sight to see. Haven't got a penny and your ma's gone out, you can still get on his roundabout. Round and up and down through the streets of Belfast town. All the children laugh and shout, here comes Mickey's roundabout. But then, alas, to his dismay, the roundabout was burnt one day, for Mickey lost everything he had, and all the children were so sad. But his friends, they gathered round from every part of Belfast town. They hammered and they footered about, built him a brand new roundabout. Round and up and down through the streets of Belfast town. All the children laugh and shout, here comes Mickey's roundabout. Hobby horses don't get old, on winter days don't feel the cold. But Mickey knows each winter past, the roundabout is still at last no more we'll hear the happy sound of his roundabout in Belfast town. But we thank the horse and the wee small man for the joy they've spread across the land, round and up and down through the streets of Belfast town. All the children laugh and shout, here comes Mickey's roundabout, round and up and down through the streets of Belfast town. All the children laugh and shout, for here comes Mickey's roundabout.
We're really proud to be able to sing a song like Mickey Marley's Roundabout, because it was so catchy, and it's still going strong today, so it is, which is a test of any song, you know.
He was over the moon, and I mean literally over the moon, going to collect his record and to meet the band, and it was like royalty. He just felt like he was royalty because he got this disc, and you know, everybody playing on the radio, and you know, people come up for interviews, people wanted him to go more places, so we got to go more places then, you know. So, and we earned more money because he was flying, and you know, and he's taking me and Paul with him, and me and Paul got perks as well, you know. So
he was constantly playing it in Cornmarket, you know. He loved, and in the end, he did love the attention that he was getting with the roundabout, and it boosted him up, you know, business-wise and everything else. You know, he done really, really well out of it.
Mickey was made more popular than ever because of the song. Everybody wanted to see this roundabout that Barnbrack were singing about, and wanted to see this wee man coming in with his dog, his wee Jack Russell. So it put Mickey back out of retirement, and that's what the song actually wrote the last verse about him retiring, but it actually had the effect of bringing Mickey back onto the streets.
I left Belfast when I was 13, so I did, 86, and as far as I know, Paul still helped him, and then it just got to the stage where Mickey was getting ill, and he wasn't able to manage, you know, going out and taking the roundabout out and stuff, and I think it's sort of like after a couple of years started to dwindle, and he got older, and he just got really not well. And I remember got a call to say that, did you know that Mickey had passed away? I was in complete shock. Like, it was awful for like the ones who cared about him.
The Ulster Folk and Transport Museum was really, and the Folk Museum in particular, was set up to collect and reflect the way of life of the people of Northern Ireland, Ulster. And in that sense, the roundabout speaks to that theme. It is, it's an important part of urban social history. It speaks to the experience of childhood, a sense of times past. There's a powerful, I think, nostalgic connection with the roundabout for many people. But in many ways, it's also almost a piece of folk art. You can view its importance from a range of different perspectives. And for all of those reasons, it's an interesting item, and I say one that we're pleased to have in the collection. I know from our records that it came in 1996. It was acquired after the retirement of Mr. Marley, and it was obviously identified as something that did speak to themes of social history and Belfast's history, and was identified as a potential acquisition, and it came in actually as a donation from Mr. Marley to the museum.
To see it in the museum just brought everything back, because we stood beside it many a time and sang with Mickey that's Barnbrack, you know. So to see it there, it brought me back probably 30 years, you know, to the early days when I had auburn hair and wasn't half as big as I am now. But no, that seeing the roundabout, it just brought me back, and I could picture him with a wee Jack Russell and that.
It's rusting away at the minute. The paintwork's peeling on it, and it's a shame for what it was and the history of the roundabout. And it should be back. It should be out either in use, painted back up, or in use for like different events or festivals. Put it back out on display and, you know, restore it to its former glory. That's what should be done with it, to show people the history of the roundabout and Mickey Marley.
As an item, there are a range of different ways of kind of connecting with it, which are nostalgic, personal, but also artistic, but also what it speaks to as almost like a broader, more universal theme of childhood. So I think it's probably in the future its use would less be kind of as it was originally intended, with, you know, children riding on it, but more as a display item, and maybe hopefully we can give a sense of its use through film and the photographs that help to bring the item to life, but to do so within a more conventional gallery environment. And that's really been the issue, because, as I say, it was originally used in the open air site, but we think its future lies in a gallery environment, but we haven't really got the gallery environment yet within which it can most comfortably sit.
There's very few signs that'll ever tell you that Mickey Marley worked in Cornmarket, or he entertained the people around the streets in Belfast for years and years. Hail, rain and snow, Mickey was out, and I think it's only right that he should be honoured in some way.
There should put a wee statue or something, something special just to recognise him, and then maybe like a scroll to explain to young people who he actually was. Because kids nowadays, if I sing Mickey Marley, my kids look at me, but my kids know, because I've told them from they were young who Mickey was, showed them videos, you know, showed them pictures, you know, and they would know who he is because I spoke to them. But I think in this generation we've lost Mickey, and he needs to have that wee bit of recognition, and then the wee bit of history with it, you know, for young people nowadays to know who he was and what he meant to people, you know.
I think it'd be nice for the children who will never see Mickey come around the streets again to know that this wee man existed, and he was a great wee Belfast character, and I think it's important that he is recognised for what he's done over the years, and that's what I'd like to see him remembered, especially.
Me and Paul were lifelong friends, and we both miss Mickey in our own kind of way, you know. And he'll never leave our hearts, and he'll never leave, you know, the thoughts we have and stuff of him.
Round and up and down, through the streets of Belfast town, all the children laugh and shout, here comes Mickey's roundabout. Hobby horses don't get home on winter day.
He's a warm-hearted wee man, if anybody knew him personally. You know what I mean? Warm-hearted wee man, and he looked after me, and I had the pleasure of working with Mickey Marley, and it's a good memory.
No more we'll hear the happy sound of his roundabout in Belfast town, but we thank the horse and the wee small man for the joy they've spread across the land. Round and up and down, through the streets of Belfast town, all the children laugh and shout, here comes Mickey's roundabout. Round and up and down, through the streets of Belfast town. All the children laugh and shout, for here comes Mickey's round.